Okay, so the streaming is started. Here's a link to today's webinar. Earnings season is coming up. Really, the week after next, big time, it starts. And I think there's a couple of interesting earnings next week. I haven't done the schedule yet, so as soon as I do the schedule, we'll know. All right, so I think gold is responding to the poor ceasefire. And then you think about it, but the MNQ is moving up also. So it's so
Treasury
difficult
Secretary Bessent says time for the markup of Clarity Act.
to know what's causing these markets to move the way they move. Nothing, up is down, down is up so often in these market conditions. It's difficult. I'm not going to lie and say that these are easy trading conditions. It's difficult trading conditions. And we do have more than 1 month in a row where the PCE price, the GDP, and unemployment claims traded together. And it's quite inconsistent. The MNQ appears to be really the only breakout that we're interested in trying. Um, Good morning, Francis. We do have a setup for the MNQ, an MNQ breakout. Um, we have a gold setup for a trap trade, and that's a high risk. I'm going to trade it, and I'm going to trade both instruments, but not funded. Then the other thing you could consider is possibly doing magnets after the news. All right, so those are things we're thinking about. Let's take a quick look at the DMM. The strange thing, here's what's really weird, but it was pre-war. In February, um, let me think for a second. No, in March 13th, um, it was a very weird, smallish move on this news. You had all these reports, and it was not giant bursting. And what we've been seeing, PCE price and GDP, have both had smaller moves over their more recent reports. So it's been extremely difficult to come up with intelligent settings. And, when you have this kind of volatility in gold, it makes it tricky as well, of course. This is extreme volatility in gold. We just finished making a whole bunch of new highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 13 new highs. And the PP. Probably a good place to try a signal, which if we had a magnet on, there would be a signal to go short. That's my guess. If you have a gold magnet, there would have been a short signal up at, let me show you if I'm right. Magnet, you could leave it on off because it's going to give you high of day, low of day signals when it's on off. So let's say you really set it up, a 40 tick stop for gold. And then trading the reverse continue inside the magnet, a stop of 40, let's say, and a target of 30 at the moment. And we'll label it GC magnet. And right now I'm just on sim. I'm just showing you what I think there probably was just a signal, would be my guess. Yeah. Early signals also. You're going to get signals when you make new highs and momentum changes. Now, it would have been difficult because I would have been thinking, well, where should my stop be? And normally you just put your stop right above the high of day. But when you have the PP so close,
Asset speaking on
you
Fox
have to look
Business
at the
says the
PP as
Iran-US
market
talks are not
structure,
meaningless.
and you might really put your stop above PP. Trading full-size gold, that's a very big, it's a pretty big stop at $700-800 on one contract. If you had taken the first signal, for instance, in this area here was 47.82, and if you followed just get stopped out above the high, you would have gotten stopped out. You might have lost 18, 20 ticks, got stopped out.
According to Politico, Trump to attend MeCoin conference later this month.
And certainly, if you took this signal, you would have got stopped. You might not have gotten stopped out again. It would have depended how many ticks above the PP you would have put your stop. That might have been a quick, I was not watching gold at the exact moment it made that new high. If it was a quick reversal, you might have not gotten stopped and still be in this very, very good short trade.
Asset says we're working with Iran on
Now,
what could be a great deal.
was that a delayed 8 o'clock move? Who knows? It was 2 minutes after 8 o'clock you had that move down. But first it went up quite a bit, 82, 30 ticks at least. So that was tricky. That was a little bit tricky. But I'm just showing you there would have been a signal. It's a good signal because it's right above the PP
Politico also says Trump's crypto event attendance
and
is
right
not
at,
firm yet.
well, I'm going to take that back. It's not a great signal in terms of size of stop because you have a lot of wick here and you wouldn't have gotten in to the trade probably until the second candle. So it's a pretty big stop, but if you took the trade, it was a very big winner. Signals can be tricky. They're not always just so simple that you just jump into it and do every signal. Anyway, I knew there would be a signal in this area because you're getting a change in momentum, a new high. All the rules that create signals are there. So that was quite a few ticks of movement. When you look at the ruler, let's say you got in, you know, not at the top of that candle. It's 83 ticks conservatively. Okay, so let's look
Asset
at
says still see 4 to 5% economic growth this year despite the war.
our DMM. So we have an MNQ set up. So first thing I'll do is put an MNQ reverse continue on the chart. And I'll
According to
put two
state news agency
contracts
Iraq's North Oil Company said the K1 station in Kirkuk has received its first shipment of crude from Basra.
with a 75 tick target and a 75 tick stop. And then we'll label it MNQ reverse continue. And I'll apply it for a minute and okay it. Let me see where I'm going to want to trade this. MNQ, I'm going to trade in account 37, and gold will trade in 35. So our MNQ reverse continue. We'll program that for account number 37. That's a prop account. Apply it, okay it, turn it on. Looks like we're getting a test of the high of day. It's a little bit scary to take high of day trades. Throwing a magnet on very quickly. High of day, low of day. Couple of contracts.
Hassett says the president has power to impose 50% Iran-related tariff.
Two contracts. Stop of 75. Leaving everything else in default at the moment.
Hassett on tariff says if countries are helping our adversary, Trump
Account
will take
number
action.
37 and MNQ magnet. And I'm not in a rush under any circumstances to jump into a trade before the news. Okay? You had a very nice VWAP signal here at 745. Not jumping into anything before the news. All right? I'm just watching. Our setup on the MNQ is a bracket breakout. So click News Trader, breakout trade. We're going to trigger at 829.59. We have a bracket of 50.
Hassett cites IEEPA as basis for 50% Iran-related tariff.
Position 1's a 1, position 2's a 1. Decide how many contracts you want to trade. Target 1 is 25. Target 2 is 60. And the stop is 100. If it hits the first target with target 1 stop move, I'll move my stop to BE for break even. So triggering at 829.59, I'll make the time 0 because we want to look at our bracket like we always do, right? We're going to label it MNQ breakout. Right now we're leaving it on sim. We want to see the size and width of our bracket for trade management.
Order submitted.
See how that's a little big, so you shrink it down. That's all. That's the only
Hassett
reason
says
I'm doing it, to
post-reconciliation
manage the
bill will be
trade.
done before June.
All right.
Order canceled.
I'm going to uncheck it. I'm going to get rid of the vertical line. Highlight the strategy. Highlight MNQ. Breakout. Go down to optional. Show the vertical
And
line
Hassett
on
says we'll
entry.
look
I'm
at
turning it
second
off.
reconciliation in the fall.
Put the time back to 8:29. We're labeled MNQ breakout, and our MNQ is trading in number 37. All right, we can now turn on number 37. Put our chart trader on 37. And you can certainly see the difficulty in this report. Look at all the news. We've got the PCE price index, which is an important inflation report. Final GDP, super important. Personal spending, personal income, important. Consumer spending, consumption, and Thursday's jobless claims, which are very important. The Fed is watching everything. All right. So gold we were just watching a magnet for signals, but we'll put a reverse continue on gold, change the breakout to a reverse continue. One position, gold is so volatile. You could trade micro gold on this if you want to reduce your risk. Target 30, stop on gold. You know, gold could move 30 ticks in an instant these days. I'll make the stop 40. I'm not jumping into scalps. I'm going to be very conservative
Hassett says
this
rates
morning.
should be lower.
You know, one thing we've seen is if we mostly wait for our opens, we make money. Has everyone noticed that? That the opens have been very good and we've been making money regularly on the opens. You don't have to trade these inconsistent, difficult reports. Certainly, you don't have to trade them with huge risk. You can use micros. You can use one contract if you want to. So gold, I'll trade in account 35. We'll label it GC reverse continue. Apply it and OK it. Chart trader would be on 35 and our magnet would be on 35 should we want to do any gold trading with the magnet. So we'll change that from sim to 35. You know, there's certainly a possibility that you're going to get news that doesn't all agree. In other words, you might get some positive news, you might get some negative news. It would be very surprising for all the news to be bullish or all the news to be bearish because there's so much of it, right? So the odds are that there will be a push and pull on the news results, which could make for a good trap trade
Hassett says
on
shrinking Fed
gold,
balance
right?
sheet should be gradual.
So we have a fairly big set of tiers. Normally, I would be quite a bit bigger, but we've seen a history. Let's take a double check
According to US Admiral Cooper,
of our
US and
spike
Israel
sheet.
systematically destroyed Iran's ability to conduct large-scale military operations for years to come.
So we have a gold spike sheet. And the biggest move we've had was September 100 ticks, January 110 ticks.
Hassett
If
says
you
we've seen
notice the
chips dropping
last
through the
two
Strait of Hormuz.
reports, we've only had movement of 45 and 35 ticks. And those two reports were somewhat similar to the news we're seeing today. As was January. We've had 3 months in a row of similar news. We could increase our tiers to be ultra safe. It could mean that we don't get filled. What's the worst thing
Hassett
that
says see
happens
normalization in
with a
oil
trap
markets
trade?
soon if
What's
Hormuz
the worst
opens.
thing that happens? You get stopped out. Okay? That's the worst thing that happens with any trade. But the second worst thing is not really very bad. You don't get filled. So we may want to protect ourselves today. We need a zone of safety, possibly bigger than 110. So let me explain the zone of safety on the trap trade. Tier 2 plus the stop is the zone of safety, right? If tier 2 is 80 and our stop is 110,
So at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we're expecting the release of PCE price index data for
Add them
February.
together, you have
Year-on-year forecast
110 ticks.
2.8%,
Our
unchanged from the
biggest
prior, with a range of
move over the past
3.2% to
4 months
2.6%.
was
Month-on-month
110
forecast
ticks. So I'll tell
0.4%,
you what
prior
we're going to do.
0.3%, with a range of
We're going to
0.6% to
slightly
0.2%.
increase
Core
our
month-on-month
tiers. We're going
forecast
to go 50
0.4%
and
prior, unchanged from the prior,
95.
with a range of 0.4% to 0.2%. Core year-on-year forecast 3%,
So we're going
prior
to do a trap.
3.1%, with a range of 3.1% to 2.8%. Initial jobless
Position 1
claims
is a 1,
forecast
position 2 is a
210k
1.
prior
It's an
202k,
8:30
with a range of
event. We're going to
220k to
trigger at
199k.
8:29:55.
Asset says if Asia is feeling
The
real
stop
pain
is
because they're running
30.
out of oil,
Tier 1, 50.
and has it further saying it's been much less
Tier 2,
disruptive in the
95.
US.
Label it trap
US GDP quarter-on-quarter
GC.
final for Q4 forecast
And we're in account number
0.7%, unchanged from the
35.
prior, with a range of 0.9% to 0.3%. US consumer spending month-on-month
It's a lot of
forecast
risk
0.6%,
with
prior
GC.
0.4%,
You could
with a range
lose
of
7, 8,
0.8% to
900 bucks
0.1%.
on a trap trade.
US GDP price index forecast 3.8%, unchanged from the prior. US personal income month-on-month
If we
forecast
set the time
0.3%,
to 0,
prior 0.4%.
you could see the
US core
levels
personal
of where
consumption
your
month-on-month forecast
tiers are
0.2%,
going to
prior
appear on the
0.1%.
chart.
US GDP deflector
So if we put
essay
things on
final
sim,
prior
right?
3.8%. US continued jobless claims forecast 1.828
Put
million,
things on
prior
sim and
1.841
set our
million,
trap
and US
trade
core PC prices forecast 2.7%,
to
unchanged from
0
the prior,
time,
and US PCE
we
prices
can
final
generate
prior
our
2.9%.
tiers.
NATO's
And it
growth.
just gives us
Free
an
professionals
idea
that Trump wants concrete commitments within the next few days for help securing the Strait of Hormuz.
where those
As
orders are
Congress
Order
going to
submitted.
appear.
Hassett says once Hormuz opens, gas
Order
prices will fall
canceled.
Let
relatively
me put the
fast.
software on sim also. You got to make sure your software is on sim. Don't forget to do that. And we have very big tiers. There was not any danger of getting filled.
Order submitted.
Okay, that's
E News Calendar
perfect.
says US-Iran ceasefire is fragile, but alternative
Perfect
is weak.
setup. We're below the low.
Hassett
We're
says
above
we've
the
had conversations
VWAP.
with allies on having
I
a
think there's a
guaranteed supply of US oil.
possibility of a trap trade working
Order
if it
canceled.
doesn't go too far. If you don't get a 150 move, right? If we get a 150 tick move, we get stopped out. If we get a 120 tick move, we don't get stopped out. And we may get to manage the report because our zone of safety is 90, right? What's our zone of safety? Tier 2, 95 plus 30, the stop, 125. I think it's wise to use the bigger tiers. What's the worst that happens? We don't get filled. All right. The stop is 30. The software adjusts the stop automatically if it doesn't get placed in the correct area. The software will not allow a stop to be placed in between tiers because that would generate errors. That's why on a trap trade, sometimes you'll see a different stop than the stop you put in, and it'll usually be bigger. 35 is the account we're trading. I will not try to manage my MNQ because it's not nearly as expensive a trade as the trap trade. So I'll manage my trap trade on gold. I will not try, I will talk through it as I manage it. All right, remember, with the trap trade, if you have multiple gold setups, uncheck all your gold setups for a moment. Uncheck all your gold setups.
And that concludes
Make the
remarks from
trap
Hassett.
trade the first check. Why? So you see your cancel button up top. If only one order gets filled and you want to move your stop to safety because the reversal started taking place, you cancel the outer tier, the extra tier that didn't get filled, and then you can move your stop to safety. Otherwise, that extra order is in the way. So you always want to see the cancel button with a trap trade. So when you're
In 5 minutes' time,
enabling
reminder,
your
we're expecting
trades,
PCE price index
normally
for
I
February
enable the
forecast.
magnet first so all the buttons
Iran,
appear
Iraqi says
without
Russian
any
Lavrov
issues.
discussed the ceasefire in
So
a
let's
call.
make sure the magnet buttons still
Year-on-year
appear
forecast
properly,
2.8%, unchanged from
and
the
they
prior.
do.
Month-on-month
And then
forecast
third, I
0.4%,
enable my
prior
reverse
0.6%.
continue.
Core month-on-month forecast
This way,
0.4%,
we
unchanged from
have
the
our
prior. Core
cancel
year-on-year
outer tier
forecast
button,
3%, prior
which we need
3.1%.
for a
US
trap
GDP
trade.
quarter-on-quarter final
Okay?
for Q4 forecast 0.7%, unchanged from the prior. US consumer spending month-on-month for February forecast 0.6%, prior
Any
0.4%.
questions?
Jobless claims initial forecast 210k, prior 202k. Continue claims forecast
Everyone
1.828
okay?
million, prior 1.841 million.
Let me look at the stream. All right. What a signal. That was a great signal. Even if you got stopped on the first signal, why not take the second signal? That's something to keep in mind with signals. Sometimes you'll take a signal and you'll get stopped, and then there will be another signal very soon after. And sometimes it's really good to take that second signal, um,
It's in report from
especially
TASS saying senior Iranian
if you're
sources
if
say
you've
under the
made
ceasefire, Iran will allow no
13.
more
My
than 15
favorite
ships per
signals
day through the Strait of Hormuz.
are after I've made 12 new highs and it makes a signal. It generates a signal. Those are the best signals because it's exhausted. It's gonna be exhausted by then. You're going to know if it's exhausted because you are going to see the momentum change. The squeeze is going to be the right color. The candles are going to be the right color. You know, everything's going to work. You don't want to jump into signals when the momentum is against you, right? If the momentum is long and you get a short signal, just wait. Don't jump into that signal. If you get a short signal and the candle's green, you can wait. Wait and see. Is it going to turn red? Are you going to, a good signal is going to give you more than 10 ticks. You don't have to rush into good signals. Look, this was a good signal. It's easily more than 100 ticks. This VWAP signal on the right was a good signal. You had a little bit of indecision in the squeeze. If you didn't jump into it for a couple of minutes, you still had an opportunity on the third minute after the signal to get in. And if you did that, let's say you got in 60% of the way up that candle, you still had 63 ticks of potential profit. Now, 63 ticks, not huge on the MNQ, but it's still a profitable trade.
1 minute remaining. I'll be dealing with US PCE price index year on year.
All right, so what we're looking for is a move in one direction and then a change in direction to give us our profit. This could be a fast trade or it could be a fast burst. We know we're going to get a burst on the MNQ, most probably, right? Because we have a breakout. Hello, David, on YouTube. So our orders are going to show up 5 seconds before the news.
10 seconds.
Now we already know where they're going to
Order
be.
submitted. Order submitted.
So we got an early fill on the MNQ.
Still waiting on the data.
So
Initial
nothing's
close,
out though. No
2.8%,
news is out.
2.8% as expected. PCE price index month on month, 0.4%, 0.4% as expected.
As
Initial jobless
expected,
claims,
PCE.
219k, 219k, higher than forecast at 210k. US GDP quarter on quarter final is 0.5%, 0.5%, lower than forecast at 0.7%. US consumer spending month on month, 0.5%, 0.5%, lower than
So the
forecast at 0.6%.
MNQ,
US core
it's
PCE price
not
index year on year
bursting
is
in our
3%,
direction. It
3% as
filled early.
expected. US core
It
PCE
filled
price index
early.
month on month,
You know,
0.4%, 0.4% as expected.
we might not
US
get a
GDP
follow
price
through. It's
index,
sounding like a lot
US
of the
personal income
news
month
is
on month,
as
minus
expected.
0.1%, minus
Pretty
0.1%, lower than
close.
forecast at
Order cancelled.
GDP
0.4%.
was
US dollar
down.
personal consumption month
Gold,
on
we
month,
got a short
0.1%,
fill.
0.1%,
So now
lower than
I'm looking
forecast
to
at
see if we get a
0.2%.
change in
US
direction.
continued jobless claims,
All right.
1.794 million,
MNQ is going to
1.794 million,
stop.
Order filled.
lower than forecast at 1.828 million.
Gold, we have
US
an
GDP
awesome
expected estimate
change in
final
Order
direction.
2.7%,
cancelled.
Cancel,
3.7%. US core
trail,
PC prices final 2.7%, 2.7%
expand
as expected.
target.
US PC prices final 2.9%, 2.9%.
If I can trail more, I
Seeing
will.
prior advice for initial jobless claims 203k, 203k compared to the original prior of 202k, and see prior advice for continued claims 1.832 million,
Order
1.832
All
cancelled.
million
right, a
compared to the original prior of
$400 winner
1.841 million.
on the trap. 118 negative on the MNQ. MNQ, it filled early. It filled early. So I'm going to get rid of the gold trap. That was actually a very easy trap to
US Treasury
trade.
yields edge higher after data. Yield
Worked
on 10-year
perfectly.
Treasury notes
Getting rid of
priced
the
up 0.8
MNQ
basis points at
breakout.
4.299%.
And now we're just going to hang for a minute. Let's
Seeing
see
prior
if we
advice
get
for consumer spending
any
0.3%, 0.3%
tests
compared to the
of
original prior
the levels
0.4%.
on the MNQ. If it's far from the levels. We just did the VWAP. So there's no VWAP test, okay? The news didn't. Here's the news.
Spot gold little changed after US
GDP
PCE
was
data
lower,
last up
all right?
0.5%.
All across the board, GDP was lower. PCE prices seemed the same, and then initial jobless claims higher. So initial jobless claims is bad news. GDP is bad news. All right. Personal income, negative news. All right. So that's
US GDP price
most
index
probably why our
3.7%,
MNQ
3.7%, lower than forecast at
didn't work. Do you
3.8%.
want to take a magnet if the MNQ is going to test the high? The index is negative, right? The market's negative. If anything, it sounds like most of the reports were somewhat negative. Not horrifying negative, but negative just the same. All right. So just watching right now to see if there's anything else worth trading. I like those gold traps. I mean, we've had very successful gold traps in these markets. Yes, they're risky because you're risking a lot of money. The stops are big. The stops are big. But they've been performing rather well, better than breakouts. Breakouts can be difficult in these kind of markets. And they can be difficult with so much news. It's a lot of news. So, but you could kind of see also the response is not gigantic. I'm hearing some really strange sounds, folks, on the street. I'll be back in 1 second. All right. Not really understanding our sanitation services. They just aren't showing up the days they're supposed to. Did anyone trade the trap? Anyone trade the trap? No one? Anybody trade anything? Anybody trade anything? So now you have a view up. You have a view up long.
According to Redfin,
Order
Redfin,
submitted.
Do you
February
want to
month
take a
sellers
view
view
up long
lowered
for
their
a
list
partial
price bid
test of the
to an
high
average of
with a stop
$40,915
below
or 0.7
the
spot
view up
3%. According to a poll, US 10-year Treasury yield
based
to
on
rise
that
to
signal?
4.26% in 3 months and hold that level in 6 months and 4.25% in a year versus the 4.17% and 4.2% and 4.25% in the March poll.
That's a good micro gold trade. All right, so gold, we're done on gold right now for the moment. All right, I think we're done on gold for the moment. Turn off the reverse continue, turn off the magnet, change the chart to oil, right? CL. Oil still on 5 as the correct contract. We may not get a good long trade on the MNQ. It just might not follow through. Now, I'm turning off my high of day, low of day. I'm not entering. I've already entered, so I don't need the signals. I'm just looking for a scalp based on our signal. That little arrow is not generated by our software. That's generated by Ninja. So looking at crude on a 10-minute chart, crude is not liking the news of the day, okay? Crude not liking the news of the day. That's for sure.
We have posted the US PCE February 2026 report and US Q4 2025 GDP report on the feed for those interested.
All right. So I wouldn't be surprised if this trade doesn't work out, but I gave it a shot. Gave it a shot. It looks like shorts might be, we're being told shorts may be the way to go on the MNQ. That trying any more longs might not make any sense right now. Now, if you think that your trade has failed, you can exit. Momentum's against us, right? The momentum went against us. You don't have to stay in the trade. You could move your stop up to below the candle. So if it fails, you don't have to take a full stop. It's got a green candle. So, you know, try to give it a tiny bit of room. If it decides to head up, you can try and get out with the smallest loss possible. And it's micros, so it's not going to blow up our account no matter what. We're not blowing up the account with micros, okay? And that's one of the reasons one of the reasons you can scalp and try things with micros that you wouldn't necessarily always try with full
Transport
size.
Truth
You would
Social
do a
says
lot
none
more
of these
damage.
people, including our own, very disappointing. NATO understood anything unless they have pressure placed upon them.
So we'll put our RTY back. We'll get ready for the market open. On the RTY, we'll put our reverse continue on the chart. Change our breakout to a reverse continue. One position with a 35 target and a 35 stop. All right. Reverse continue on the RTY. Label it RTY reverse continue. And we trade the RTY in our number 66 funded account. And I suppose we could put our RTY
Order filled.
range trade on. Look,
Iran
we got
Deputy Foreign
something
Minister
happen.
says our delegation will head to peace talks in Islamabad. That's coming from Fars.
So Iran said they
England
are
doesn't
going
want
to
the upstanding
send
S&P
people to
500
the
off the back
peace
of that
talks,
headline.
and that caused our MNQ trade to burst and win. Okay? So that was a bonus. That's why these markets are crazed, right? These markets are crazed. That was not technicals that caused the winning trade. That was just the luck of the news. It could have gone the other way.
Coming from Fars, Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister says the US must stop Israeli attacks on Lebanon.
Francis, maybe to take that thought a little bit further, scalping, maybe scalping with signals would be helpful, right? To try to do scalping as intelligently as possible.
Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister says any peace in the region must include Lebanon. The coming hours are very critical.
And then I would think magnets would come into play also. Magnets, look, if we had left our high of day, low of day magnet on
Iran's Deputy Foreign
for
Minister
the
says Iran was on the
NQ,
verge of responding to the ceasefire
in all
violation last night, but
transparency,
Pakistan
that
intervened.
could have been a problem. Why? That could have been a problem because it was such a fast burst. You might not have gotten a good fill on your magnet fill. So the profit could have been very, very small because of that. Remember, the magnet wasn't designed for bursts at the news. It's designed around the news. Little bit slower fills. Okay? Anyway, so our MNQ, we made 2/3 back of what we lost on that first breakout. So that's okay. It's a start. You're always struggling if you have a bad trade to bring it back. So that's step number one. Let's put our oil 1 minute chart. This was a 10-minute chart of oil. So oil still not believing in the peace process. But that is good news. Iran deputy foreign minister, our delegation will head to peace talks in Islamabad. Good. Let's get this over. Let's get it over. That's what we need. This was the greatest miscalculation in military history, maybe. All right. So right now, we've got oil on our left chart. We had some gold setups. We had a gold reverse continue. So let's convert that to an oil reverse continue. So it's a reverse continue. I'll highlight it. One position, a 25 tick target, a 25 tick stop, and that's our reverse continue on oil. We're going to label it. Change the label from GC to CL. So you don't have to quickly remove your setups. You can modify them if you want to save time. And then the account that will trade for the oil open, which I've said 1,000 times is a pretty lousy trade, but we're here, so I keep trying the breakout. We'll trade it in account number 37. I'll show you why. Apply it, okay it. So let me show you the accounts I'm trading this morning. 37. I'll trade it in 35. I'll trade it in 35. Even though 35 made good money this morning, 35 is not doing nearly as well as 37. So I want to trade my better setups in account number 37 because it's halfway to funding. Okay? 35 is my risk prop account. So that's where oil's going to go. All right? Even though it's showing some profit this morning. So my oil reverse continue is going to go in 35. So we have a
This
reverse
statement is rail
continue
military issues an evacuation warning for
set up for
Beirut's
oil.
southern suburbs ahead of possible attack.
We can turn on our RTY reverse continue, should we want to. RTY magnets.
Seeing a little bit of strength in WTI off the
Looks
back of
like
that
the
headline.
RTY. We could throw a magnet on the RTY before our range trade. Default on everything except for the stop, 35 ticks. 35 ticks. Don't forget, you could easily program your reverse continue. One position, 35 stop, 35 target, and you've got your reverse continue buttons programmed very easily. Inside the magnet, RTY, funded account 66. So just make sure your chart trader's on 66, and we could turn on our magnet if we want. All right. You could put it on high of day, low of day, so you see your orders if you want to. Let me see something. I think I made a mistake on something. RTY magnet. Let's look at that setup. Proximity is 3. Stop is 35. No, it looks okay. The order looked a little bit far away. It might just be my charts are very spread apart. All right, turn the magnet on. There we go. That looks more normal. My charts were very spread apart. I'm not really expecting, I'm leaning more shorts this morning. Definitely leaning more short. Okay. Just watching right now on the RTY, and you can put your range on the RTY if you want to also. Right click the strategy, click news trader. The RTY range trade, I'm going to load my template. Go to RTY range. I'm going to right click it, rename it, and date it. It's been a while since it's been dated. 4926. Our range end is 930.00. One position on position 1, one position on position 2. Target 1 is 10, target 2 is 20, the stop is 35. Target 1 stop move, BE for break even. That's our range. The range start time is 9:25:00. 6 ticks above the range, 6 ticks below the range. That's where our orders get placed after the range is calculated. All right? 9:25 we start the range, 9:30 we end the range. 6 ticks above, 6 ticks below. Show the range graphics on chart. 9:30 end, 00. Position 1's a 1, position 2's a 1. 10 and 20 on the targets. Stop is 35. Target 1 stop move BE. Should we hit our first target? And we put the software on funded 66, 77, account 66, Sunset Strip. I was watching, oh man, an old clip. Old clip to The Invisible Man. Claude Rains, black and white movie. Must have been early 50s. The Invisible Man. What a great movie. A guy wearing goggles, like goggle sunglasses, walks into a bar in the middle of a snowstorm. And you can't see his face. He's like all bandaged up. It's an amazing, amazing beginning to a movie. It's just great. Invisible Man. Claude Rains. Shows how old I am. Got to be early 50s. All right, so MNQ chart changed to YM. YM 0626. Put a fast magnet on it. High of day, low of day. Proximity 3. One position, -3 target. One position, 10 tick target. Yesterday we tried to get 15. Stop at the moment 40. Target 1 stop move BE. That's our YM setup for this morning. Label it YM magnet. I'm going to set up the reverse continue quickly inside the magnet. That's funded account 67. Setting up the buttons for the reverse continue. Couple of contracts, 35 stop, 35 target. That's my YM setup. It's labeled YM magnet. We're on the right account. Apply it, okay it. Make sure chart traders on that account. Make sure the YM is enabled. All right, we've got our orders. We're pretty far from the levels. Today may be a VWAP magnet day. That's the truth. Getting rid of my MNQ trade from this morning, all the setups. We do need a YM reverse continue. But let's go to oil because we need to set up our oil breakout. In my nutty, crazy mental condition, I'll still try to trade the oil breakout on the open. I'll load it, load the template, even though it's not working. It's stupid probably to keep trying. Load the template. And I'll tell you what we'll do. So it's oil new open. And breakouts are similar to trap trades in the sense that the worst thing that could happen is you get stopped. That's the worst thing that ever happens on a trade. You get stopped. Okay? We can all agree on that. But it's not so horrible if you don't get filled. If you don't get a good move and you don't get filled, what's so bad about that? Okay? That's not the end of the world. All right, so our activation time is 0. We've got a target of 8 and a target of 20. One position for each one position and each two position. That means one contract for each. 20 on the stop. We're going to risk 20 ticks on the stop. And target one stop move is break even. And what do we say our oil is in? Account number 35. It's already labeled. Now let's put it in sim. Let's look at our bracket with 0 time. Charts on sim. Just to get a feel how good our bracket is. All right, time is 0.
Order submitted. Order
Perfect
canceled.
bracket. Below the low. Probably, who knows what direction it's going to go. We don't know. You could guess all you want. Let's get the right time in here. 8:59. 59 is the trigger, not 9 like yesterday. And then our account, we said oil would be 35. Apply it, okay it. Put the chart trader on 35. Turn on the trade. We did have a gold magnet on this chart. We could turn that into an oil magnet if we want to watch signals after the open. So we highlight the gold magnet. One position, a 30 tick stop, and we'll leave the target default -3. That's a high of day, low of day magnet. Right now it's off just to watch signals. And why not program the reverse continue inside the magnet? One position, 20 tick stop, 20 tick target. All right, so the button's programmed. If you want to use it, you can. And then we're already set for 35. We just have to change the label from GC magnet to CL magnet. Apply it, okay it. And now when we turn it on, we have the ability to take a reverse continue trade inside the magnet or outside the magnet, right? We had a very good signal or a decent signal. It's a very bullish market. Do you want to be taking shorts? It's hard to take shorts. This signal failed. Now, something to
US
consider.
effective federal funds rate unchanged
It
at
was a
3.64%.
very early new high. It was accompanied by a little bit of uncertainty in the momentum. Maybe you wouldn't have taken that signal. Maybe we should be looking at 30-second magnets for the signal generation. Maybe. I've been liking the 1 minute charts these days. I've been liking them. I'm going to
Order
stay with them.
submitted.
Are we at 9 o'clock? I'm going to leave that on right now because that's our trade. It's 9 o'clock. We're not filled.
Intel wins Google commitment to use Xeon chips in data centers. Intel
We're
and
not
Google announced
filled.
multi-year collaboration on AI computing. Nvidia, Apollo, and Point72
I'm
participated
going to
in
cancel. We didn't get a
5 funding
burst. We're
rounds.
not filled. Our bracket maybe kept us safe. All right. If it goes up, I'll let it fill. I don't want a short.
Order submitted.
I think it'll hit the first target.
Order
It
filled.
did. Expand the second target towards the high. Trail a tiny bit. I think we may get that test of the high. It's possible. If not, it'll pull back and we'll have a small win. Now I'll trail. Getting a test of the high here. Going to trail tighter and tighter as we get to the high. We just missed by a tick.
Order filled.
All right, that was a $250 trade. 250. I'm not bragging. I'm not saying I'm any sort of a genius. Um, you know how I feel about the breakout open on oil. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. What we've seen this week, we've had
ECB settled
two
235.9
target
trillion euros
one
of corporate bond
reversals
purchases, and the
where if you
ECB settled
protected your stop,
1.984
you
trillion of
had
public sector bond
a
purchases.
one target
ECB bond
winner.
holdings under PEP 1.37 trillion euros as of last week.
And today we have a nice two contract breakout with expanded target. Okay. The key is not to panic during a trade. Try not to panic. Try to take what the market's giving you, right? The market gave us, even though I was yakking away and not paying attention, my order triggered. I didn't panic. I was on a 30-second chart instead of a 1-minute chart. That makes no difference for taking a trade. I wanted the 1-minute chart to watch the magnet signals.
Order submitted. Order canceled.
Now, it should not have triggered that trade. You should always disable a breakout when you change time. Now, I'm getting rid of my breakout because we already did the oil breakout. Okay? We already did the oil breakout. I wasn't going to do another oil magnet because we tested the high on our breakout trade. You could have traded the oil magnet on that open. Look how low you were compared to where the magnet was. That magnet would have went on where you could have had a good 10, 15 ticks of profit if you just traded that as a magnet. So here's a way to think about why that was a good probability magnet to the upside. And Francis, maybe this will help your thinking about scalps to take, scalps not to take. So sometimes I would say a magnet is a scalp, right? I think we would all agree with that.
ECB said gold receivables
Very
rose
often a magnet is a
113.2
scalp.
billion euros in a
We're
week.
catching a trend. It's a quick trade generally. I would qualify it as a scalp.
Intel spikes to a
So
session high
what
on
what
fatigue
was
of
a
tax
good reason
approval.
why this might be a good scalp? The market tremendously bullish. Um,
Yobi and
Not that
Microsoft
far away
fell on
from the high,
enterprise
a
AI model.
perfect distance away from the high to give us another test. We had a decent pull off from the high right before the market opened. It pulled back 57 ticks. That's quite a bit. So we had a pretty good pullback. So taking that high on the market open is a decent probability because you have a
Oil
lot of
prices extend
retail
gains.
traders
Native
thinking
gas
long.
futures rise above $100 a barrel.
The news has been really worried about the ceasefire. That's bullish for oil prices. It seemed like it would have been a good possibility for a magnet long there. So just from a scalping standpoint, that might not have been a bad scalp. Now, in theory, this could have been a short signal. It's not a great one. It's not a great one. Why not? Because it's very far from the high. So your stop has to be very big. I would not be jumping, and it wouldn't have been a good short because it immediately went against you. Actually, it wouldn't have been. There is no short. No, looking at it now, the reason there's no short is there's no momentum change. It's all up. It's all up. That's why there was no short. All right, we're done with oil. So we can remove our oil setups. Now you can leave them for a minute because we'll modify our MNQ open chart to use those setups. We'll modify them. So let's go to MNQ. There's an account. All right, so MNQ, let's modify our CL magnet. High of day, low of day at the moment. Couple of contracts. Default -3. The stop is 75. So we have an MNQ possible magnet. All right. And again, you can program the reverse continue button inside the magnet. Two contracts on position 1, 75 stop, 75 target. So that's an MNQ scalp. Label it. But see, the scalp doesn't show up inside the magnet label. It's labeled as a magnet, MNQ magnet. And then our MNQ account is 68 at the moment. Account number 68. Yeah, it's growing nicely. So we have our MNQ magnet, high of day, low of day, reverse continue button programmed. And we want to make our MNQ reverse continue, change the oil reverse continue that was on the MNQ chart. So highlight reverse continue, couple of positions, couple of contracts, target of 75. That's the open. We'll make the target 100. Stop 75. And that's our current reverse continue. We'll change the CL reverse continue to an MNQ reverse continue. MNQ reverse continue. And we are on 68. Did I say? On MNQ? Yeah. Apply it. Okay it. Make sure chart trader's on 68. Okay, we haven't traded that account yet. And then we need our breakout. Turn on our MNQ reverse continue. Now, do you want to allow the YM short to fill early? I think I do. All right. MNQ breakout. We have our template. Right click, double click News Trader, go to template, load it. MNQ new open is the name of the template. MNQ new open, right click it, we'll date it today. Load it. All right. We have our time set to 0 because we'll check our 35 bracket. Targets. Markets, I don't know. They're busy, but they're not like yesterday. They're not as volatile as yesterday. I'm going to keep my smaller targets today. 30 and 100, stop of 125, and target one stop move on break even. A lot of times on the MNQ, you do get the opportunity to expand your target if it all doesn't happen so fast. So our breakout will test on a sim chart.
Order submitted.
All right, that's a nice manageable breakout. Re-highlight the breakout, put the time 9:29:59, and our trade is ready. 35 bracket, targets of 30 and 100, BE on the target one stop move and 125 on the stop. Label the trade, breakout MNQ open, and choose your account. And we said we're on 68 for all our MNQs. Now, once again, we're not trading them all at the same time. So you can have multiple setups on a chart that you're not trading at the same time. You choose the ones you want to trade. So what's the news saying from this morning? PCE inflation picked up. Consumer spending was solid, so that was good and bad news. Weekly jobless claims rise, but remain at low levels. So that's good and bad news, right?
Voice news disconnected.
So on YouTube, one of our members is saying, um, when I made the comment that Iran is going to negotiations, he said, well, not so good. Jared is one of the negotiators. Why? That's a good question. Why is a non-government hedge fund, real estate friend, family member of Donald Trump one of the negotiators in this war? Now, I suppose you got to give him credit for the Abraham Accords. He's done some good things, but the corruption, the the incredible conflicts of interest we have never seen, never in the history of American life have we seen the levels of corruption that this government is involved in. It's beyond the pale. It's beyond comprehension. And never have we seen such unqualified people placed in positions that they're completely incapable of handling. And never in the history of this government have we seen more criminals pardoned, ever in the history of government. There will be a reckoning one day. Is the YM going to test? Is the not YM? Is the MNQ going to test the high? I would probably wait for the open. There's enough time to trade a test of a high, but I'd rather see it just chop around here and not fill any trades. I probably won't turn it on. I'll trade the open. I'll trade the open. So all the airlines are raising bag fees. Fuel costs are through the roof. Um, the cost of food is going to be astronomical. It's already high. And I don't understand the Fed. The Fed has no clue that inflation is moving up. They just keep saying, oh, there's not really much inflation. The war, it's just temporary. I mean, it's like we're living in a bizarro world where people don't see what's right in front of their eyes. Now, when you're driving around in a limousine and not doing your own shopping, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what prices are like. Remember when George Bush, I think it was George Bush, he didn't know how to pump gas? He didn't know how to pump gas. What can you say? Just watching the three markets. RTY on the right. We have an RTY range trade. One more time on that trade. Right click the chart. Click strategy. You would click news trader and then it would put a range trade. Change the breakout trade type to range trade. The range end is 930.00. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1, target 1 is 10, target 2 is 20, our stop is 35, and our target 1 stop move goes to break even if it hits the first target. Then we scroll down and we label it RTY range, choose the account you're trading it in, apply it and OK it, and you have a range trade after you enable it. And then make sure that your chart trader is on the right account. So a lot of you don't know this, but I'm a songwriter. I have a really nice song that I've written. I have a lot of pieces of songs laying around. So, do you want to hear a piece of a song I wrote and then had AI develop it for me? I'll put it I'll put it in the file folder. I can't play it for you so you'll hear it easily because our trade room software doesn't work properly. Let me put it in the file folder. Let me make sure I put the right file up. Okay. So it's not a link. I'm just going to put it in the file folder. You can download it. All right, you can download it. I'm going to put it in now. Give me a second. There's a bug in the file folder where I can't get rid of the files. All right, it's called Let It Rain. All right, so there's a MP3 file you can play called Let It Rain. All right. Um, your Ninja crashed and it won't load back again. Roz, you probably have to restart your computer.
Yemen's Houthi leader says operations follow a planned strategy that accounts for the conflict's potential
Quickly
duration.
restart your computer and see if that gets you started. You've done that twice. Are you getting an error? Are you getting an error? Um, Look in your chart, your task manager. So go to the
The
task
Houthi
manager
leader says the
bar.
operation will escalate with possible surprise actions aligned with developments on the ground.
Do you see any instance? Wait 10 seconds. Do you see any instance of Ninja Trader running on the left side? Any instance of Ninja Trader running? If you do, right click it and end the task. No, you don't see it? Two things I would try. If it were me and I had a recent backup, I would just run my recent backup. I'd reboot and run a recent backup of NinjaTrader. That will probably solve it. If you don't want to run a backup, you can just March 2nd. That's not bad. Well, that's a little bit old. It's a little bit old, but it's not bad. You probably haven't changed too much. Um, the other thing you could try, just reinstall Ninja. It doesn't destroy all your files if you reinstall the program. So you could try that. Just try to reinstall the program. Go to ninjatrader.com. Let me see if I can show you.
According to Pakistan's Prime Minister office, Lebanon Prime Minister sought Pakistan's support for bringing an immediate end to attacks targeting Lebanon and its people.
Go to ninjatrader.com. Go to platforms. They make it really hard to find the darn download. I'm looking for it. It's unbelievable. They make it really hard to find the darn download. Let me try it a different way. It's unbelievable how difficult. Log into your dashboard and click the download button. Log into your dashboard and click the download button at the bottom left. All right. Log into your dashboard. Let me see if I can find it. It's such a pain. I don't know why they've made it so difficult. See, I can't load into my dashboard now because I'm in the program. But there's a download link in the lower left, supposedly. Now the RTY range is drawing. It shouldn't take very long. I would definitely not trade this open. I would
So seeing here, the French
probably
Foreign Ministry
wait
says
until the
35
open's
countries have
over
expressed interest in
and
participating
install
in
the
efforts
backup,
to ensure
Roz.
freedom of
I'd
navigation in the
probably
Strait of
install the
Hormuz.
backup. I'm just, I mean, I think either or is an okay solution if you can easily find the download. And it shouldn't take but a few seconds to load the first part of the file. So, see, that would have been that just barely. Now we would have had a fill on the high of day. We would have had our target would have been hit on the high of day magnet. But I would not normally take the magnet that at that time. It's before the open. It's only a couple of minutes before the open. So now I just put my magnet high of day, low of day off, just looking at signals after the open. We have an open that has to take place here.
One minute remaining for the market on open imbalance.
All right, roughly 1 minute till the open.
Ten seconds.
Order submitted. Order submit. Order
Market on open
filled. Order
imbalance.
filled.
S&P 500 sell side
Order
247 million.
filled.
All
Nasdaq
right,
100 buy side 15
I
million. Dow
couldn't
30 sell
change
side
my
56 million. Mag
target on
7
the
buy side
MNQ
10
as
million.
immediate winner. RTY immediate winner. YM hasn't filled anything yet. YM, if it decides to fill short, I'll let it. I'm going to remove my breakout on the MNQ.
The S&P 500
I'm
opened
going to
0 spot
remove my
1% lower.
range
Nasdaq
on the
100 up 0 spot
RTY.
1%.
It was perfect.
CoreWeave shares rise 2.2% after the company announces $21 billion expanded AI infrastructure deal with Meta.
Looking for a possible magnet on the YM. Just watching signals on the MNQ. We had a small winner. Nice, Francis.
Amazon shares rise 1.7% after the CEO says cloud unit AI revenue run rate exceeded $15 billion in Q1.
So just watching, folks. Not seeing any other opportunity. I'm not going to scalp in my funded accounts. So my MNQ magnet, we'll put that in a different account. The reverse continue, I'll put it in 29. And my magnet MNQ, I'll put that in 37, 39, 39, 39. Oh, they have to be the same. They have to be the same. My MNQ reverse continue also has to be 39. They can't be different. All right. So our MNQ is in 39. I'm not giving funded money back. YM didn't fill. We just didn't get a follow through to the downside. I think that setup is not going to work. I don't know that I want to take a short. The RTY uh, made another nice funded trade. RTY, let's put that in 29. Both of those. So the reverse continue, 29. We'll hang around till natural gas. I may go heat my coffee that I haven't been drinking, but I want to drink it. 29 on my RTY magnet. Put the chart trader on 29. All right. Turn on the setups. All right. So now look, the markets could decide to really pull back and we could get a YM fill to the short side. So I'm going to leave it alone for a minute. Leave it alone. Remember what I said about the YM VWAP might have been better for today? How many times am I going to say that and we don't do it? We need to start doing it. We've been too far away from the YM's high and lows, but we've been very manageable to the VWAPs. So I think we should start doing some YM VWAPs. Don't you agree? Folks, I'm going to take a risk and heat my coffee while the market is a little bit thrusty. So hopefully it won't fill without me.
Spot gold rises 1%.
Do we want to allow a YM long on a
The
magnet?
S&P shares
My
down
coffee's
over
still heating
6%,
up.
hit lowest level since January
Yes.
2024. Excuse me, that was SAP shares down over 6%, hit lowest level since January 2024. So seeing reports here from the Times citing an Iranian security source saying if the attacks do not stop, there will be no negotiations.
All right. Not, nothing much happened. Francis, I don't like. I'm not dying to take a long. I got burned on two longs already on the MNQ this morning. So I'm not dying to take a long. I think what would be better, you know what I think would be better? If we get a test of the high, right, on the RTY or the YM, and then we get a signal short. That I would love. I'd like to take a signal short. Now I need a YM reverse continue. Let's put one on the chart. Reverse continue. Put a couple of contracts. 50 tick target and a 40 tick stop. All right. A YM reverse continue. And that is a funded account. I'm going to leave that in that funded account. Now, if my RTY
NATO spokesperson says Secretary General is in contact with allies about his discussions in Washington.
tests the high, and it looks like it's going to, it looks like it might. It's still far away. I mean, 3 points, 5 points. It may not make it. It may not make it. This may be as far as it goes. And the short might be now.
NATO spokesperson says clear that the United States expects concrete commitments and action to
You've
ensure
got
freedom of
the
navigation in the
downward
Strait of Hormuz.
momentum, but you've got both other indexes pushing up. I'm not jumping into anything yet. Unfortunately, we're probably not going to get to the high. The perfect scalp would be if it tests the high. Now, do you want to risk the test of the high? It's pretty relentless. The only negative is the momentum. I don't like testing highs with negative momentum. It doesn't get there. Now, this is not a great short because the price action is bullish. The candle is struggling not to go red. Right now it's red. I think I'm waiting for a short here. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to let that high of day test. I'm going to let it test. It's
Germany's Merz says we are taking up direct talks again with Iranian leadership in
it's
Order
Tehran.
not a
submitted.
funded account. Now that MNQ long signal was good. That VWAP long signal was good. See if the RTY will test the high. If it will, I'll take the short when it changes momentum. I think I'm definitely worried we're not going to test the high. Yep. This is the short. This is the short.
Order filled. Order submitted.
This is the short. I'd like to see it go maybe to the VWAP. The stop has to be above the high. It has to be. It's got to be above the high. Had it tested the high, we would have had a short signal. Okay? If it had tested the high, we would have had a short signal because we changed momentum. I got you, Francis. Now, I'd like to get my stop to safety at some point on this trade. The MNQ, I think, is a good signal also, if it comes. It hasn't changed momentum.
Germany's Merz says oil prices could rise further from February levels. Palantir technology shares hit 6-week low, last down 5%. Merz says Germany will back Hormuz Sea mission if mandated.
I don't need to see the high of day, low of day orders. Just not getting any follow through whatsoever on the RTY on that short. And there is the danger that it wants to test the high. That's the problem. That is the problem.
According to Israeli Defense Minister, saying we will continue our attacks against Hezbollah and target them in their Lithuania region and other areas. So just saying it again, Israeli Defense Minister says we will continue our attacks
Stop
against
to
Hezbollah and
safety.
target them in the Litany region
All
and
right.
other areas.
Stop to safety trail. Not quite top of the candle. Now, it may take me out. It just may not get down there.
Order filled.
All right, so we made a little bit back. We made a little bit back. I'd love for it to go test the high. Go test the high. Go test the high. And then
Germany's
we'll
Merz says
take the
energy cost
short
relief
again.
measures need to be targeted and must not cause supply
And it'll be
shortages.
a much better trade because it would probably follow through. Here, we're just not sure if we're going to get this follow through. It's got good momentum down, but it's you could see the price action is struggling on the downside and it's doing better on the upside, right? The Israelis just won't stop.
Germany's Merz
They
says there's
just
no
won't
agreement
stop.
yet within the coalition on further energy cost relief measures. Intel shares add almost 2% after the company to expand collaboration with Google to advance AI infrastructure. Reminder at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, expecting US wholesale inventories month-on-month revised. Forecast minus 0.1%, prior minus
Now,
0.5%.
I'm not
US
going to
wholesale sales
chase.
month-on-month forecast
I'm not going to
0.6%, prior
chase.
0.5%. Also expecting comments from IMS
Order
Georgieva.
submitted.
We do have a video on the calendar. We'll put one on the feed for those interested.
I took an MNQ. I took that signal, the stop. Really, your stop has to be above the high. That's a big stop. I may not allow it to stay that far. I think the VWAP is a reasonable target. Maybe the previous open is a reasonable target. So we'll see. We can get our stop to safety. Stop to safety, expand the target. Let's just see if we can trail it. Try not to get too close. Okay.
We will put a live video of
Keep
IMS
expanding
Gul
that
Giva
target.
speaking on the feed for those interested.
Top of the candle trail. Keep trailing. Expand the target. Now I'm thinking the low. That would be a miracle.
See a little bit of strength in WTI crude. Not seeing any headlines to explain this
So
little bit
you
of
can
movement.
see
But we'll
my
keep looking.
RTY got to the VWAP. Will it break the VWAP? That's a big one. Might not.
Order filled.
All right. That was a nice little scalp. That was a nice little signal. Right?
Germany's Merz says there are no plans to restrict the use of US forces of their bases in Germany.
Now I'm just not taking long signals on the YM. It could be a mistake. It may eventually. Now, I do have the YM testing the high on a funded account. I don't want to be on my funded account now on the YM. I want to be scalping, right? It's after 10. It's almost 10. So YM, I don't mind trading in prop accounts, but I'd rather not blow any accounts if you get my drift. I don't want to damage my funding accounts. Let's try 35 on the YM. YM on 35. That's fine.
So just looking, can't see any new headlines to
See
explain
if
the
we
move in
get
WTI
anything
crude, so
that
it's probably back off
happens.
that Israel headline, where they're saying they're continuing the attacks in the Litany region.
Okay, so you have a long signal there. That's a very delayed VWAP long, right? I'd rather take, let the YM go test the high on its own, and I'll take a short signal after it makes a new high. That's my plan on the YM. I'm
Italy's
not
Economy
gonna,
Minister Giorgetti says government ready to lower its growth forecasts.
that's my plan. I think that's a higher probability. Roz, what did Ray say to do? What did he say to try? Roz, when you get a minute, tell me what Ray said. I just want to learn. Oh, he was able to find it in Task Manager? Okay.
Germany's Merz says some energy cost relief measures would have to be coordinated with regional states. Reminder in 5 minutes' time, we're expecting US wholesales inventories month-on-month revised, forecast minus 0.1%, prior minus 0.5%, US wholesale sales month-on-month, forecast 0.6%, prior 0.5%. Reminder, we're expecting comments from IMS Gul Giva, who will be speaking soon. A live video is on the feed for those interested.
He might know something about Task Manager that I don't, about finding that extra attempted login That was preventing both logins. You can only log in once to NinjaTrader Desktop.
UK bonds extend slide, 10-year yield rises 10 basis points to 4.81%.
All
Treasury
right,
yields
so
edge higher as WTI oil extends rebound.
right now I'm just watching. Took a couple of scalps, two winning scalps, one loser on the RTY. So I'm down a little bit on the RTY. I'd like to get that back.
Germany's Merz says, I have told Trump again that after a peace agreement, we would be ready to contribute to securing the Strait of Hormuz within an international mandate.
MNQ, is it going to go test the low? That's the question. That is the question. You do have quite a bit of
According
divergence.
to
You've got
sources, crude loading at Saudi
the
Arabia's
markets
Yanbu
moving
port
up.
not yet affected after Wednesday's attack on East-West pipeline.
You have to scroll down background processes. Oh, it was in there, Ray? That's what you're saying? I was looking under apps, and you're saying it was under the background processes? Okay. And you had to end it in there? Okay. Thanks for that. We do have natural gas at 10:30. I would have loved to have gotten that
1 minute
RTY
remaining. I'll be
account
dealing with US
flat.
wholesale inventories month-on-month revised.
There is a small report, U.S. wholesale inventories month over month revised. That doesn't usually move the market at all. Calvin, sometimes a reboot just doesn't work. I don't know.
WTI crude moves back up to
Usually it does
$100 a barrel.
on things like that. All right, folks on YouTube, thanks for joining. We had another good market open. Every setup was a winner. We did
10
not have a
seconds.
YM trade. RTY hit both targets. MNQ hit one target. Another good open. So I'll see everybody on YouTube tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Hit the like button,
0.8%,
and we'll see you
0.8%
next
higher
time.
than forecast and minus